So welcome to this video. This video is a review of the Fiido D4s e-bike, folding e-bike. It's kindly given this bike by Fiido for the purposes of review. I've not been paid to say anything nice about it, so the review I'll give will be open, honest and hopefully detailed, and give you enough to know whether you should buy this folding electric bike. My name is Bob Earnshaw and I've got a motorhome channel and I review motorhomes, campsites, we go on trips and tours, and occasionally we get sent products like this to review. So I hope you find this interesting. So in this video we'll have a look around the bike. I'll give you the specs and the price. I'll show you some of my experiences of using this. Now I've been using this on our Welsh trip, so if you haven't seen that I'll put a link over there somewhere, up there, yeah, and you can watch those. And I've put quite a fair few miles on this bike. You can see it needs a wash, it's a bit dusty, so apologies for that, but it does at least prove that I've been using it. I'll discuss the pros and cons of using this bike, particularly with regards to how it's stored in a motorhome and how much space it takes up. And finally I'll look at some of the pros and cons of the bike and any possible upgrades that you might want to make. So let's have a look at what's in the box. Mudguards. Presumably that goes on there. That's the right hand side. Okay. Like that. Okay. Getting there. What's next? Unfold the frame, lock the folding handle, fold the riser to the upper end, and lock the frame. Lock the riser safety hook to the tightening state. Adjust the position of the T-handle. Right. So this presumably is the handlebars. Around. Where's that one there? Put the seat in. Okay. tiny little user manual for the battery. So adapter plug. Assume you put it in like that. Doesn't look particularly safe. But, there we go. Appears to be fully charged anyway. So to switch it on, you just press that. Assuming that switches it off. Hold it. What that does. Ooh. Alright, pops, just the bike beeping. That's the hub motor, derailleur gears, charging port. I think those pedals are fixed. Some of them seem to fold, so that's just a fixed pedal. Now they provided a spanner, but it's a little bit on the big side. I didn't film any of that because I've just spent about half an hour messing about trying to figure out how these mudguards go on there. So just for reference, this hooked one goes like that, and it's got these two black screws that go in there, and there's a retaining clamp in there, and it fits on there. I was trying to fit it on the front and that didn't work. Slightly more complicated is this side, because that's why you need the hook in it, to avoid all the gear mechanism. So, sorry, the brake mechanism, isn't it? Yeah, so just got to do the back one. No instructions for this at all. I have to say a back wheel mudguard is even more annoying. It's got a key you need to get in there, because you can't get that in there to screw it up with the Allen key. And these, I need to take the wheel off. That is not, this spanner doesn't fit, so it's not a 15. So the motorhome's away in the garage at the moment, and that's where all my tools are, so it's getting blooming annoying, this is. Give you the right size spanner, I wouldn't have this problem. Well, I had to get the wheel out of the way, and that's a 19, I think it's a 90mm bolt, that is, to get my Allen key in there to do that mudguard up. So I'm going to try and get it back together again now. Now the bike itself weighs 41 pounds, which makes it one of the lightest folding electric bikes you can buy. And its price is about $799, which is about £700 today. And so it makes it one of the most affordable bikes, or folding electric bikes, that you can buy. It has in here a 36 volt 10 amp hour battery. And that can last, I'm told, up to 50 miles. I haven't tried 50 miles and seen if I could run out yet. But it can reach speeds of up to 15.5 miles an hour, and that's limited by UK legislation. It doesn't provide assistance any faster than 15.5 miles an hour. Now, probably need to get this out of the way before anyone says and gets on the old keyboard. This has throttle assistance. Now, as I understand it, in the UK, throttle assistance is only allowed on an electric bike if it propels it up to 6 kilometers an hour. Now, this actually propels it much further than that. So, strictly speaking, this throttle assistance here is not UK compliant. Now, I did ask Fiido their opinion on that, and in an email, and the message I got back was the throttle is optional and you can disconnect it. So it can be disconnected inside the bike, so you don't have to use the throttle. If you do use the throttle, apparently it makes it into a moped, under UK law, and therefore it would be needed to be taxed and insured. So I thought I'd better get that out of the way before we go any further with the bike. If that's the problem for you, then obviously you don't need to watch any more of this video, but if you're still interested, please carry on watching. It has 20 by 1.75 inch tyres. They're fairly wide, they're not particularly narrow, so they're okay for sort of rough tracks and so on. They're slip resistant, I'm told, and easier to handle rough conditions. Now I have taken this bike on some fairly rough tracks, and I haven't washed it since then, so hence the dust and everything, but it handled it reasonably well. I was quite pleased how well it handled it. Yes, it does need a wash. It has a lovely comfortable seat. It's a gel seat. I've not had any problems with the seat, even though I've not ridden for many years. I've found this seat quite comfortable. This is in its lowest position. I've got a lock on it. I've added a bag here, and on the other side a pump. It's got quite a large front gear here. You can see pedals are fixed pedals. There's the folding mechanism for the frame and the folding mechanism for the handlebars. And if I just step up here, this is the control that switches it on. I always have trouble showing this on a camera. You can see that. And the other button here changes the power level. The speedo is fixed in kilometers per hour. You can't change that, and that's basically all it shows. It has a light, it has a horn, and it has a light. This is for adjusting the handlebars, and that's for adjusting the height of the handlebars. So you can get fairly comfortable on it. This is the gears. That's down and that's up. All fairly simple. Obviously the brakes. The brakes are cable operated disc brakes. Cable operated disc brakes on the front. Let me show you how it folds. So with the seat down in its lowest position, that's about as low as I can get it at the moment with my lock on there. So turn it off. There's a catch here that slides back. Undo that. The handlebars fold down. So just tuck those back. Another safety catch there. Pull that lever back, and the way I found it to work is you put your knee into there, put the stand up. I always forget to do that, and this is the difficult bit, getting the pedals out of the way. And then you can fold it. That's it, that's folded. That's the bike folded. There we are. So what was my riding experience like with this? Well, it was an enormous amount of fun. I've really enjoyed riding this bike, and it's got me back on a bike. And I'd not been on any bicycle for about 3 years since COVID. So it was absolutely brilliant to be able to get out there on a bike. It gives you so much more with a motorhome, taking a bike with you. It's so much easier to sort of explore the area around, find out what's out there, errands for fish and chips or a loaf of bread or whatever, all those sort of things. So it's been absolutely brilliant. It's got me thinking about getting my mountain bike out of the shed again, and got me thinking about doing longer rides. It certainly helps you when you're riding. It's got 3 levels of power assist, and I found that I was probably using the second level power assist. The first level gives you 25% assistance, so the amount that you put in, it gives you 25% of that back on the first level. Second level, it's 50% of the amount you put in, and the third level is 100%. On level 3, what I found was that it does seem to use quite a bit of the battery, and it somehow, if you back off when you've been on level 3, it actually slows you down quite a bit. There's some sort of regenerative braking going on somehow. Don't quite know what that is, but it seems to slow you down, so you back off and it really sort of slows you down. So I found that level 2 is probably about the best level to use it, but it's super fun. Really enjoyed it. And watch some of the videos and see me cycling along there, quite happy. And it's good. And it gets you pedaling. You do have to pedal. You can't expect this to do all the work. Even with the throttle, you still have to do some pedaling. As soon as you stop pedaling, you can feel it obviously slowing down. So pros and cons. Pros, first of all, it's a very comfortable seat, and this bike is ideal for people who haven't ridden for a while, and it's great to get you back into the saddle, as it were. It's excellent as a commuter bike. And if you're thinking of buying a bike just for going like 4 or 5 miles to work, then this is ideal. And you can stick it in the boot of your car, or at a pinch probably take it on the underground. As for storage, I struggle a little bit to get it in the boot of the up. It goes in if I take out the false floor, but more often than not what I was doing is folding the back seats down and putting it in like that. And that works okay. Obviously if you've got a bigger car, then it's less of a problem. I need to try it to see if it works going underneath the bed in the motorhome. I haven't tried that yet. And the other thing someone asked me was what's it like to put on a bike rack. Now I haven't tried that, but I will do an experiment and see what it's like to lift. It's even at £41, it's still quite a weight. So if you're struggling a little bit lifting sort of weights like that, and certainly lifting it and holding it whilst you strap it onto the bike carrier, it might be a bit of a struggle for you. It might be easier with a lower bike carrier like the ones you fit onto tow bars. But I haven't got round to actually getting a bike carrier yet for the motorhome. But if I do, I'll be the first to let you know. It is fairly inexpensive for an electric bike. I know lots of electric bikes running £5,000, £6,000, £7,000. This is under £1,000, and it's upgradable. I think that's the great thing about it. I've added simple things on, a bike locker, a pump, a seat bag. You could add carriers, you could add front shock absorbers, and all of those sort of things. So it would be a great start if you don't want to spend a huge amount of money and you just want something to get you to work, which you can upgrade. So we come to the cons, and the biggest con, the biggest negative I can think of is the electric throttle on here. It makes it non-UK legal. Now you can disconnect it. I hate to say this, but who's going to stop you using it? Unless someone's enforcing these sort of laws, then what are you going to do? And if it does worry you, then disconnect the throttle. And there is a video, and the link will be below in the video description. There'll be a link to how to disconnect the throttle if you want to do that. The next one is actually, this sounds a bit silly really, but it's not a mountain bike. Over the rougher trails it's okay, but you start to think, I think I wish I was on a mountain bike. I went down some particularly rough gravel tracks, and you start to think, I need extra suspension here or bigger tyres. So don't think of it as a mountain bike, think of it as a commuter bike that can do trails. The Fiido is fixed in kilometres. I've asked if that can be changed, and it can't be. So you need to work out if you're going to be going that fast, how fast you're going in miles per hour from the kilometre display. Also, there's no trip meter with it, that you can't see how far you've been, unless obviously you're using your phone or something like that. So it's got mechanical disc brakes. Now, although they work reasonably well, I do find they're a bit snatchy. It does really sort of, you know, jar sometimes. Paint finish, it's already started to chip in some places, especially where you're folding it, where the handlebars are hitting this crossbar here. It's chipping away at some of the paintwork. It is paintwork, it's not powder coated. There's nowhere to mount a pump. I've actually just cable tied this onto the seat mountings. There's nowhere to put a pump. I mean, obviously if you've got a bag or something, you can fit it. I couldn't fit the pump in this bag, so, but I was just like cable tied it. But like I say, there's nowhere to actually mount it. There's no mounting points. You know, some bikes have drilled points in the frame where you can mount pumps and the like. It's got an integrated battery, which is good because it can't easily be stolen, but it does mean it makes it more difficult when you get to that stage where the battery does need changing. It is accessible via the tubes there, and you can get to it, but like I say, it's an integrated battery. On the plus side of that, of course, is it's more difficult for people to steal it. Final thing is the charger that comes with it. I think it's 150 watts thereabouts. It charges the bike probably from probably about 3/4. It took about 2 hours to charge it to full. I think a full charge will probably take about 5 hours, but the plug that comes with it, it's pretty poor. It comes with one of these Euro 2-pin adapters, and it plugs into what looks like a shaving adapter, and it just feels a little bit well, flimsy really is the word I'm thinking of. So what sort of upgrades could you do to this bike? I mentioned earlier it's something you could upgrade. I think the first thing would be folding pedals. These pedals, when the bike is folded, are quite a pain, and the metal, and always banging my shin on it. So folding pedals would be a great upgrade. The handlebar grips, they twist around. They're not meant to, I mean the throttle twists, but the actual grips themselves, as you're cycling along, they move. So it might be a good idea to invest in some decent grips. The handlebars themselves is quite short, so you could, if you wanted to, I suppose, upgrade the handlebar. It's handlebars in there somewhere, so it's possible you could upgrade it, get a longer bar. But it's necessarily short because it's a folding bike. Something you might think about is upgrading the front forks to shock absorber forks. That would give you a more comfortable ride over the rougher tracks, and that's a possible upgrade. I think I'd like a carrier on the back, you know, a rack, possibly with some bags or panniers on it. That would make it very useful for doing shopping and the like, so that's something I will be thinking about doing. So what about carrying it in the motorhome? It looks fairly compact as it is. Let me give you the dimensions. 25 by 34 by 18, and I think with that seat folded it would make a bit more compact. But putting it in the motorhome, because we haven't got a garage, it gets in the way, if I'm perfectly honest. You've put it in the aisle, it really is in the way. So I will try and see if I can fit it under the seat. It's just too wide. Can't quite get everything in there. No, so that's a bit of a failure. You can see how much room it takes up and just about get past it. Open that door. I can't open this door. But if you've got a motorhome with a garage, this is perfect. That will go in there nicely. I mean, you could even not fold it in the motorhome and you'd put it in a garage that way. Just fold the handlebars down. If you've got one of those lower garages, and if you've got a huge garage, then it's not a problem anyway. I did struggle to lift it in and out of the motorhome. If I just lift it here, it feels quite a weight, and getting it into the motorhome with the width here is a bit of a struggle. And if you've got a fairly wide door, that's okay, but I suppose there probably are more compact folding bikes like some Brompton and that, which are considerably more expensive, but it is a little bit of a struggle to get it in the door. One wheel obviously moves and the other one's locked with the chain, so you can sort of roll it along on the front wheel. Some of the other options you could think about are bike racks for the motorhome. Our particular motorhome has the Fiido G2 bike rack that you can fit. This way, the bike weighs round about, I think it's 22 kilograms. Those ordinary bike racks are good up to 30 kilograms, so you probably want the more expensive Fiido Elite carriers if you're going to put it on a bike carrier on the back, and they are obviously more expensive. Another option is the bike mounted carriers that Fiido do, and they are quite expensive. They're about £700, but you can see them on offer. Apparently there are some on offer in Halfords. The trouble of course with a tow bar mounted bike carrier is that you lose the ability to tow anything, and as we tow a small car, it's a bit of a problem. So I'm still in a bit of a quandary how to transport this, but I think before this video is ended I will see if I can fit it under the bed so we can take it with us on our Northern Ireland trip. Otherwise I'll be looking at getting a bike carrier. So conclusions: it's just great fun. It really is. I've really enjoyed it. I can't say how much. It's been a pleasure to get back on a bicycle and feel the wind in your hair. Well, the wind around your ears at least. But yeah, it's obviously a much cheaper option than towing a car, which we've been doing for some years. But obviously it only takes one person and it's not covered, and you get wet when it rains. Yeah, so that's it. Unless I've actually forgotten anything, I will review this video before I finish, and I might add something in a little bit later. But yeah, so that's it. And if you've got any questions about the bike that I can answer, please leave a comment below, and I will try and answer all your comments. I will leave the link to, if you want to buy the bike or you want to have a look at it on the website, link in the video description below. Yeah, there is a discount code if you check the link out, and if you use this code here you can get $50 off the price, or whatever $50 is in pounds these days. But that might be worthwhile. So I hope you found it interesting. If you did, give us the old thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and we'll catch up with you in the next one. There's the castle anyway.